right. So this is gonna be my first album review. Yeah, man. ASAP Rocky, Don't Be Dumb. I'm gonna just give y'all a little like intro on my experience, like just like being introduced to ASAP. Um, I've known him for a long time, basically. Since I was younger, and like don't call me Unc. But I remember he was in like this Adidas commercial. I think it was like the Adidas Crazy Quick or something like that, with Drew Holiday, Damian Lillard, and John Wall. I want to say. Um, he was just rapping about like the Adidas basketball shoe, and I just thought it was so cool. And you seen him wearing like the Jeremy Scotts and stuff like that. Um, I just remember his ascension was like really like fashion based for real. Um, so like fast forward, you know, I got to see like really why ASAP was one of the most important groups ever, in my opinion, because of 2016. Like Rocky was like the main dude who mentored guys like Uzi, Cardi, and Yachty. You know what I'm saying, etc. That whole AUG thing. I don't know what it is, but like they have hands in like all of some of the biggest rappers' careers. Like low key. And he also dropped Testing in 2018, and that was unfortunately just overshadowed by Drake and Pusha T, and a lot of people just didn't understand the album, because it was just like really experimental. You know, this new album, Don't Be Dumb, has been like teased since I was like in high school, bro, and I've graduated college, so that's how you know it's been long. Like it just now came out, you know what I'm saying? So, I'm really surprised that it's like actually like a thing. It's like similar like Whole Lot of Red. Like we didn't know it was gonna be a thing until like it was a thing. You know what I'm saying? We thought it was fake. Um, so this is like my first time doing this. I'm gonna do like different categories. I'm gonna do like the good, the bad, my favorites, and then like I guess like my conclusion and takeaway. So let's do it the good. Um, I think something that like a lot of these younger artists need to learn from guys like Rocky is making music that like challenges the ear. Um, not just music that is like shock value music. I think ASAP is really good at blending newer rap sounds with his older sounds, including like that testing sound, which I said was like very experimental. Like I love that he continues to use that because it's very challenging. It's genre bending in my opinion. Um, it sounds like he's very intentional with his words, his production, and even like his ad libs. So, um, like I really appreciate that. I also enjoy Tim Burton's inspiration throughout this album, um, because it feels like a lived-in world. Um, I remember watching interviews of Rocky saying like he wanted to create his own like black horror film, which is similar to like Jordan Peele, just in audio format, and I think he achieves that vision very well. Um, a lot of these songs sound chilling, in their own right, and I think dropping this album in the winter really set that tone for that like cold feeling. Um, and then I also think, as a lot of people don't really like to admit, I guess there's like a story kind of being told, with Rocky kind of adjusting from being this poppin' rapper towards being like thrusted into this brand new stage of celebrity while balancing that rapper lifestyle. Um, so I feel like a lot of these themes that I see are like love, lust, substance abuse, fatherhood, fame, even like fears about the world, which is like really real as one of the most popular rappers, because we don't really get that a lot from the biggest rappers. Um, Especially like when you look at Rocky from like his perspective, like the fact that he was going through a lot of legal issues, and becoming more of a global figure. It's really interesting, album when you start to like peel back the layers. I think Rocky is a genius for making this album filled with references. Well, not references, filled with inspirations that like kind of stem from like New York, Memphis, Houston, and Germany. I hope more people can listen to the album and just let it sit rather than just looking for songs. I also want people to stop treating him like he's just a casual rapper. Like ASAP Rocky is I'm not gonna say he's like a lyrical type rapper, but he's a rapper that wants to be creative and he wants to challenge you. Similarly to all the big, not like the biggest rappers, because a lot of the bigger rappers also kind of just like to use trap, but the creative side of these rappers, he belongs in that conversation 1000%. Lastly, I love basically like every feature on the album because it obviously served a purpose. Um, my favorite feature, I feel like it's like a toss up because I like the Sauce Walka feature, I like the Brent Faiyaz feature, and I also like the Gorillaz feature. So yeah, those are some of my great good takeaways. Um, Now the bad, I think because ASAP Rocky took so much time off, again, like people don't really see him as an artist; they just kind of see him as a figure. Um, so my first listen, I know I didn't really understand the vision that he was trying to go for, but I understand like because I'm a fan, I'm gonna keep listening to it and like digest the album. I feel like off first listen, like a lot of people probably don't feel the same way as I do. Because I was like seeing it, and I don't even have Twitter anymore, but I was still seeing it, and I was just like, that's interesting. Not to say that I didn't like it, but like I saw that there was a lot of critiques in terms of like just like replay value for certain people. Um, as much as I love when Rocky experiments, sometimes it doesn't sound good. And there's like parts of the album where it shows. Not to say like that I'm not appreciative of him doing that, but like I feel like examples like STFU. Like I understand that the feature was supposed to be like really important, but it sounded like a lot for me. For me personally, it was just a lot. And like I'll talk to you about like my favorite songs. You'll be like, what's going on? And then also like that second half of Whiskey, it just felt like I felt like the first half of Whiskey was like very, very, very orchestrated. But like the second half, it kind of felt like less polished, and I didn't like that because the first half was so polished. But maybe that like you could argue like that's like supposed to be like the theme of the song, but like that's just a me thing. And like also I think like some of the singles they just sounded like a little safe, but I'll use this as like the perfect transition because like one of the singles ended up being one of my favorites, which is Punk Rocky. Like I like Punk Rocky a lot, but unfortunately like I didn't use it as like the songs that I'm gonna talk about in my favorites category. But these are some of the songs that I really liked. So like an honorable mention that I actually mentioned as one of my songs that I was like critiquing was Whiskey. And it's because that first half is just filled with creativity. Um, part of me likes that second half, but I think sometimes I really start like checking out. So that's why I put it as an honorable mention. But like that first half, I feel like there's just so much thought and so much passion just put into that. I love the Gorillaz feature again, because it's a song that talks about like basically ASAP dealing with like just trying to not just trying to stay to himself in a sense, like he's a rapper, you know what I'm saying? So like he deals with like the typical things rappers deal with, like money, girls, substances, etc. So it's just almost like a song where he's like trying to numb himself, but it's just not working. So that's why I like Whiskey a lot, but I only like that first half of it because that first half was fire. 3, this is a song like I'm gonna go like 3, 2, 1. So like my third favorite song on this, it kind of like creeped up on me out of nowhere, but like I really like this one. It's "Stay Here for Life" featuring Brent Faiyaz. Um, I didn't really feel this song at first because like Brent, I think he like previewed it, something like that. Um, but I also, I know who Ken Carson is, so it made me think like, man, I kind of prefer Mewtwo over, this song. But I just think this duo of Rocky and Brent sounds really good, and I also like how their hook is like kind of blended. And I also really appreciate, kind of in a sense, they paid homage to Ken Carson. Like that was so random. And they made it a love song, which was like Mewtwo was already a love song, but they also made it like, so it was just cool. It was cool. It's like almost like a full circle moment. So yeah, man. Number 2, "Stole Your Flow." There's a lot of quotables on here. The BBL line was like about Drake. I think was hilarious. Um, this song is obviously already a banger, but like Rocky really sets the tone of this album with this record. Mainly because like it really sounds like a lot of the current rap right now, just with his twist. Um, I personally think, like I said earlier, he was talking about like Drake and Travis Scott on this joint. Because you could really argue that like, yeah, they like Rocky really influenced a lot of them, but you could say a lot of different things. But I just love how this song's filled with bars, while also like Rocky's kind of also informing people like what he's been doing in life. Like he also talks a lot about, well, not a lot, but he talks about fatherhood. He talks about different ventures. Um, you know, so like it's really cool. It's interesting because it's like a catch up song / also a diss song. So it's like, huh? Yeah. Uh, Now my favorite song. I think a lot of people hated this song, but like it just, to me, it really represents like how Rocky is like almost a creative genius in my opinion. Um, the song "Air Force," Black DeMarco, man, bro, like initially this is again a song where I was like, yo, what is going on in this song? Because it sounds like a lot. You know what I'm saying? When I played it more, like I started really loving that beat, because I think it's supposed to be catered towards people like me and people who are younger than me. It reminded me a lot of like when I listened to Opium Baby for the first time. Um, and I frowned upon it until I realized like what this song is supposed to represent. Especially because like like you kind of gotta listen to the lyrics and stuff like that. But I feel like this beat is supposed to really represent like, again, like ASAP Rocky's life, where it's a very hectic, very like in your face, almost like paparazzi cameras, fans, etc. And then it transitions into like that hook, which is like this slowed down like indie, you know, Tame Impala type beat, and it's like you hear Rocky in the song saying like, "I'm so glad to see you," or "It's very nice to see you." I forget what he says specifically, but like I feel like it's supposed to be like, in my eyes, I want to say it's like supposed to be like Rihanna or something like that, where it's like it kind of takes him away from that lifestyle, and then he's thrusted back into it, and that's why the beat keeps going. But like, yeah, I felt like, um, you know, Rocky was really like testing his creativity on this one, so that's why it's my favorite. So with that being said, my final score, I am going to give it a 7 out of 10. And I give it a 7 out of 10 because I think it tells like a solid story, with like interesting replay value. And I think sometimes his album also can be like inconsistent at times and doesn't need a lot of the beat switches. I heard that there may be a deluxe, because there's like a second disc, so like it would be interesting to see like if that means anything as well. But you never know. But yeah, I'm interested to see how this era will conclude. But shout out to Don't Be Dumb, man. Definitely, I hope you guys can listen. Maybe you guys see something that's different than my opinion. So yeah, like, comment, share, hype, subscribe, and yeah.